Deep inside, the facility mountains of fermented cocoa beans arrive ready to be transformed into smooth chocolate through a meticulous and aromatic roasting process. Silos tower overhead, holding tons of pure sugar and fresh milk powder that will soon blend to create that signature sweet, creamy texture. Giant stainless steel vats churn slowly, folding the rich cocoa butter to the milk solids until the mixture becomes a glossy liquid river. This liquid gold undergoes conching for hours, smoothing out every microscopic grit to ensure the final coating melts instantly upon touching the tongue. While chocolate tempers a separate line, prepares the heart of the bar using premium wheat flour water and just a pinch of salt. The batter is whipped into a light and airy consistency, ensuring that the final internal structure will have that iconic audible snap sound. Heavy gas irons press down on the thin batter, baking large sheets until they are perfectly golden brown and incredibly crisp to touch. Workers in white sanitary suits inspect every single sheet as it emerges from the oven, discarding any that show even the slightest imperfection. These delicate toasted sheets travel along a cooling conveyor belt, allowing them to stiffen up properly before they meet the rich filling station. A secret savory paste made from crushed roasted wafers and sweet chocolate cream is prepared to bond the crispy layers together permanently and securely. Mechanical arms spread the thick cocoa paste evenly across the bottom wafer sheet, ensuring every square inch gets a generous coating of flavor. Another golden sheet is placed on top, followed by more cream stacking high to create the distinct multi-layered architecture of the famous bar. A heavy roller gently compresses the stacked sandwich, fusing the layers into a solid block without crushing the delicate internal air pockets within. High-speed blades slice through the large wafer blocks with surgical precision, creating the individual fingers that will soon be enrobed in milk chocolate. The naked wafer fingers separate on the belt, spaced perfectly apart to ensure the flowing chocolate curtain can coat every single side evenly. They pass under a waterfall of tempered milk chocolate, completely submerging the crispy interior in a warm and velvety blanket of cocoa sweetness. Jets of air blow off the excess liquid chocolate, controlling the weight while creating that smooth finish we all expect from the package. The coated bars enter a long refrigerated tunnel where cold air circulates to solidify the cocoa butter and set the glossy outer shell. They emerge from the darkness, hard and shiny, snapping cleanly if bent, proving the tempering process was successful and the structure is sound. Before wrapping samples are pulled from the line for rigorous sensory analysis to guarantee the balance of crunch and cream is absolutely perfect. The quality assurance team breaks a bar in half to listen for that sharp cracking sound, which indicates a perfect temper and bake. Optical scanners examine every millimeter of surface area, looking for scuffs or air bubbles that might ruin the pristine visual appeal of the bar. A master taster checks the mouthfeel, ensuring the wafer remains crunchy, while the chocolate melts smoothly without any graininess on the palate. Any bars that fail these strict standards are removed immediately and ground down to become the filling for the next batch of wafers. Thousands of perfect fingers march forward on the stainless steel belt, moving at incredible speeds that defy the eye to track individual pieces. Smart sensors detect the orientation of each bar, and robotic guides gently nudge them into single-file lanes for the high-speed wrappers. Giant rolls of the iconic red foil unravel overhead, feeding the hungry machines that will seal freshness inside every single individual package. The foil is formed into a tube around the moving chocolate bar before heated jaws clamp down to cut and seal the ends. This cold seal technology ensures the delicate chocolate inside does not melt from the heat of the packaging machine during this rapid process. Every wrapped bar shoots across a sensitive scale that verifies the net weight matches the label requirements down to the fraction of a gram. As a final safety precaution, the sealed bars pass through a sensitive metal detector to guarantee absolutely no foreign objects are inside. Mechanical paddles sort the individual bars into groups of 4 or 6, preparing them to be boxed up for bulk shipping to stores. Robotic arms with suction cup fingers lift the grouped bars and place them gently into cardboard display boxes without bruising the product. The display boxes are folded and glued shut by automated fingers that work tirelessly around the clock to meet global demand for chocolate. Laser-guided vehicles pick up the full cases and stack them onto wooden pallets, creating stable towers ready for the distribution warehouse. This single facility produces millions of bars every day, supplying cravings across the continent with a reliable and consistent chocolate wafer experience. Between shifts, the entire line is scrubbed down with steam and sanitizers to maintain the sterile environment required for world-class food production. Even outside the factory walls, the sweet smell of roasting cocoa beans and baking wafers hangs heavy in the air, tempting passers-by. Soon these bars will sit on shelves, waiting for that moment when a customer unwraps the foil to enjoy a well-deserved break. The cycle begins again as fresh trucks unload more raw cocoa and flour, ensuring the production line never stops moving day or night. Under the microscope, the wafer reveals a honeycomb structure that traps air essential for that light texture that contrasts with the dense chocolate coating. Engineers monitor humidity levels constantly because even a tiny amount of moisture in the air can ruin the crispness before the chocolate seals it. In the mixing room, the massive holding tanks keep the chocolate moving constantly to prevent the cocoa butter from separating and ruining the emulsion. The production schedule signals a changeover, meaning the lines must be purged to make way for a limited edition matcha green tea infusion. Sacks of finely ground green tea leaves from distant fields are carefully measured and blended into the white chocolate base for a vibrant hue. The flowing river of brown milk chocolate slowly transitions to a pale pastel green as the new aromatic mixture fills the tempering machines. The factory air shifts from the scent of roasted cocoa to the earthy and grassy notes of premium matcha swirling through the ventilation system. Wafer fingers travel through the emerald curtain, receiving a coating that offers a slightly bitter counterpoint to the intense sweetness of the white chocolate. Because white chocolate has a different melting point. The cooling tunnel temperature is adjusted precisely to ensure this specific blend sets without blooming. The packaging machines automatically switch roles, replacing the classic red foil with a soft green wrapper that signifies the botanical flavor profile inside. Sourcing these specialized ingredients requires a global network of farmers dedicated to harvesting crops that meet the rigorous standards of this confectionery giant. Lab technicians analyze the particle size of the sugar because crystals that are too large would create a sandy texture in the final product. As the bars leave the enrober, a small roller removes the tail of dripping chocolate to ensure the bottom remains perfectly flat and uniform. Subtle vibration tables shake the wet bars gently to release trapped air bubbles that might mar the smooth surface of the setting chocolate. Every bean processed here is tracked back to certified sustainable farms, ensuring that the indulgence supports the communities growing the raw cacao fruit. Heat generated from the roasting ovens is captured and recycled to warm the factory floor, blending industrial efficiency with environmental responsibility in production. If you lined up a single day of production end-to-end, the chocolate trail would stretch for miles, connecting cities with sweetness. Many operators have worked these lines for decades, tuning the machinery by ear and instinct to maintain the rhythm of the sweet symphony. On another line, a dark chocolate variant is prepared with a higher percentage of cocoa solids for those preferring a more intense flavor profile. This robust blend requires a longer conching time to mellow the natural acidity of the bean while preserving deep complex fruity notes within. The dark chocolate flows over the wafer fingers, creating a glossy black coat that looks sophisticated and smells incredibly rich and slightly bitter to the nose. The bitterness of the 70% cocoa shell provides a striking contrast to the sweet cream and crisp wafer hidden deep inside the bar. Overhead cameras track the position of every single wrapper to ensure the logo is perfectly centered before the mechanical jaws cut the foil. Maintenance crews wear color-coded uniforms to distinguish themselves from the food handlers, preventing any potential cross-contamination between the mechanical and production zones. In some markets, the factory experiments with wild flavors like sake or roasted sweet potato, requiring entirely different ingredient hoppers and specialized mixing protocols. The physics of the snap is calculated by the ratio of cocoa butter crystals formed during that crucial cooling phase in the long tunnel. Between baking cycles, the heavy iron plates are scraped clean by automated brushes, removing any charred crumbs that could add a burnt bitter taste. Tankers arrive daily pumping liquid sugar through heated pipes directly into the mixing room where it meets the milk to form the sweet base. For the larger chunky variety, the process changes as chocolate is poured into molds first before the wafer is inserted into the liquid center. These molds vibrate violently to ensure the thick chocolate shell has no air pockets and perfectly replicates the engraved logo on the top face. The thicker bars require a longer stay in the Arctic chill of the cooling tunnel to ensure the heat is removed from the core. As the molds flip over, a gentle mechanical tap releases the solid bars which tumble onto the belt with a satisfying heavy thud sound. The flow wrapper adjusts its aperture to accommodate the extra height, ensuring the foil is pulled tight without tearing against the sharp chocolate corners. Waste is virtually non-existent here, as even the foil trimmings are collected and baled for recycling to minimize the factory's total environmental footprint. Massive filtration units on the roof scrub the exhaust air to ensure the neighborhood smells pleasant, but not overwhelmingly like a giant baking oven. Back in the lab, a texture analyzer probe pushes down on the bar, measuring the exact force in newtons required to break the finger. Samples are kept in heated cabinets to simulate tropical climates, ensuring the bar remains stable and does not melt during hot summer shipping routes. The finished pallet warehouse is a dark and cool cathedral of chocolate where automated cranes retrieve stock based on the oldest expiration dates first. Refrigerated trucks back into the loading docks, sealing tight against the bay doors to maintain the cold chain while loading the precious cargo aboard. From this industrial hub, the bars disperse into the world, finding their way into lunch boxes, vending machines, and candy bowls in millions of homes. The mesmerizing speed of the wrapping line creates a blur of red and silver, as nearly 500 bars are processed every single minute. If you listen closely, the rhythmic clatter of the conveyor belt creates a mechanical heartbeat that drives the entire production floor forward without pausing. Natural vanilla extract is added during the final mixing stage to round out the flavor profile and enhance the creamy notes of the milk. During the holiday season, production shifts into overdrive as special gift boxes and festive shapes require new molds and different packaging designs to run. The batter fermentation time is strictly controlled because it dictates the size of the bubbles in the wafer and the lightness of the bite. A wire mesh belt carries the wafers through the enrober, allowing the chocolate to coat the underside while the top gets the heavy curtain. Beyond metal detection, sophisticated X-ray machines peer inside every package to verify the product is intact and missing no pieces of the crispy wafer. Before entering the floor, every employee passes through an air shower that blasts away loose dust and lint to keep the zones absolutely sterile. The trapezoidal shape of the bar is designed specifically to make it easy to remove from the mold and simple for consumers to snap. Inside the cooling tunnel, the temperature drops in gradual zones to prevent thermal shock, which could crack the chocolate or turn it a dull gray. Nothing is wasted, as misaligned bars are melted down and filtered to reclaim the cocoa butter, which is just as valuable as the cocoa solids. While the recipe stays consistent, the packaging adapts to different languages and cultural preferences, ensuring the brand feels local no matter where it is sold. Acoustics engineers actually study the frequency of the snap because sound is a crucial part of the sensory experience when eating a crispy wafer. Huge heated jackets wrap around the storage pipes to keep the liquid chocolate at precisely 40 degrees Celsius, so it flows like heavy silk. The wire cutter that separates the large wafer sheets must be cleaned constantly to prevent sticky cream buildup from tearing the delicate toasted layers. Logistics teams coordinate specifically with weather patterns to avoid shipping chocolate during heat waves without proper refrigerated transport to protect the cargo from melting. The magic of tempering aligns the crystals into a tight lattice structure, which gives the finished bar its glossy sheen and resistance to melting. When eaten, the heat of the mouth melts the chocolate instantly, releasing the sweet aroma while the teeth crash through the dry, crispy center. This simple combination of flour, sugar, and cocoa has remained virtually unchanged for decades, proving that some classic recipes simply do not need any improvement. Robotic palletizers stack the heavy boxes with gentle precision, building perfectly square towers that are wrapped in plastic film for stability during the journey. As trucks pull away from the docks, they carry tons of happiness, destined for supermarkets, convenience stores, and vending machines all across the nation. Somewhere miles away, a student buys a bar needing a quick sugar rush to power through a long night of studying for final exams. They tear the red foil, revealing the smooth fingers, and that first bite offers the familiar comfort of creamy milk chocolate and crunchy wafer. Back at the plant, the lights never dim as the night shift arrives to take over the controls and keep the chocolate river flowing. Specialized teams disassemble the mixing heads for a deep clean, ensuring that tomorrow's batch tastes just as fresh and pure as the one today. The journey began on a tropical equator farm and ends here in a moment of simple joy, proving the power of global food connection. It is more than just a candy bar, it is a feat of engineering that balances texture and taste in a four-finger format. The hum of the machinery becomes a lullaby of industry where steel and sugar collaborate to produce millions of sweet moments for the world. Innovation continues as researchers look for ways to reduce packaging waste and lower energy consumption without ever compromising that signature high-quality taste profile. The contrast between the brittle wafer sheets and the soft melting coating remains the gold standard for confectioners trying to master the texture game. Every single box leaving this loading dock represents a promise of consistency, meaning every bite will taste exactly as delicious as you always remember. In a busy world, this simple treat offers a valid excuse to pause, to breathe, and to simply enjoy a quiet moment of sweetness. From the wheat fields to the cocoa groves, the finest natural elements converge here to be transformed by heat and pressure into edible gold. That audible crack is the signature of freshness, a sonic guarantee that the tempering was precise and the moisture was kept completely at bay. The stainless steel shines under the bright factory lights, reflecting the endless parade of brown bars moving toward their final destination in the wrapper. Behind every automated arm and sensor is a dedicated human expert, ensuring the soul of the product remains intact through every step of production. By the time you finish listening to this sentence, thousands more bars have been poured, cooled, and wrapped, ready to be shipped out tomorrow. The silos are refilled, the ovens are reheated, and the belts march on, because the world's appetite for this crisp delight never truly sleeps. It is a masterpiece of mass production, a triumph of logistics, and a testament to our universal love for sugar cream and crispy grain. So have a break, have a bar, and appreciate the incredible journey that turned a simple cocoa bean into the treat in your hand.